Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike, and today we are going to review Backlash. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, our first post WrestleMania PLE is in the books. What was John Cena's historic announcement? Who was Danhausen's partner? And did we see another retirement? And who came out the World Heavyweight Champion? Let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and start off with Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker that kicked off the show right off the bat. Match of the night contender right off the bat to kick off the show. I thought this was a great show opener. The one thing that did surprise me was that Bron Breakker did get the win. Now, essentially the Vision did get involved, but they didn't really attack Seth Rollins. Seth was able to outsmart the Vision because towards the end of the match, Seth Rollins did have the match won, but Paul Heyman got onto the apron to distract the referee. Seth, being the visionary that he is, knew what was going to happen, went to the outside, got a steel chair, and he was able to thwart off Logan Paul and Austin Theory, and he chased Logan Paul back to the backstage area. Seth Rollins came back to the ring. Breakker hit a spear, and Rollins kicked out. Like, this match had so many near falls and moments where I thought either man could have won the match. But ultimately, at the end, Bron Breakker hits that super spear, running across the ropes, and was able to get the win. Whether this means that Seth Rollins is done with the Vision, whether it means Bron Breakker is done with Seth Rollins, but I think this is setting up the future. I think, Monday I'll have a video talking about whether or not Backlash has set up the future of the WWE based on the results, and this was one of those results because Bron Breakker, winning here, and it kind of taught me too as I'm watching this match. Breakker doesn't need the Vision no more. We need to get Breakker away from Logan Paul, away from Austin Theory. Look, you want to keep Heyman and Breakker together? I'm fine with that. Let's have Heyman and Breakker together for however long you want, right? I'm fine with that. But let's get Breakker away from the Vision, please. He doesn't need the Vision no more. Now, for Seth Rollins, what would be next for him, right? Because does he want to continue going after Breakker? Does he feel like maybe Logan Paul, Austin Theory played a role in costing him the match? But at the same time, what was very interesting to me was that we did not see the Street Profits or Joe Hendry. Now, I know on Raw, Seth Rollins told the Street Profits, told Joe Hendry to stay out of his business, and, you know, there was a little bit of tension between them because, Street Profits were like, hey, dude, you created the Vision, you created this mess, so, like, how can we trust you? So I do like that they are playing off of the fact that Seth created the Vision and is the reason that they're in this mess today. So the Street Profits not being able to trust Seth Rollins, I like that. I like this continuity now that we have within WWE, where I think if this was run by Vince, I think Vince would have just completely forgotten about it and just made the Street Profits, Seth Rollins, and Joe Hendry all happy-go-lucky friends. Next up, we had the WrestleMania rematch. Trick Williams defending the United States Championship against Sami Zayn. Trick Williams looking to prove that it was no fluke at WrestleMania. Sami Zayn trying to take advantage of Trick Williams, who was mourning the loss of a good friend, the gingerbread man. But it did not work. because Little Yachty was at ringside for this match, and I have to tell you, listen, I know we've come to sour on celebrities in our wrestling. You know, Travis Scott kind of ruined celebrities for everyone. And yeah, the whole Pat McAfee Jelly Roll thing kind of ruined it even more. But what I like about Little Yachty is that he fits alongside Trick Williams. And not only does he fit, but he knows his part to where he doesn't overshadow the actual wrestlers, you know. It's not like Lil Yachty's going out there and like cutting promos like Pat McAfee and overshadowing Trick Williams. You know, the way Pat McAfee was overshadowing Randy Orton in the build up to WrestleMania. So I like this. And Little Yachty, to his credit, he does such a great job at selling. You know, the way Sami Zayn hit him with the Luva kick on the outside, he fell right to the floor. You know, I was thinking maybe he would have went over the barricade, but yeah, I just want to give my props to Lil Yachty here for his role in this whole feud. That is how celebrities should be used. Okay, but going back to Sami and Trick, again, another fine match between these two. I like that this match here kind of continued what we saw in the first match, where, you know, this being on ESPN2, you know, I think, you know, the WWE is doing a great job at trying to showcase the future of their company. And again, you know, I'll have a video on that tomorrow here on the channel. So go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button, as I do produce weekly wrestling content here on this channel. And showcasing Trick Williams on ESPN2, where, you know, a lot more people can see him, I think was a great idea. It was a great match. I like what they're doing with Trick Williams. I just hope that, and we haven't seen Carmelo Hayes, we haven't seen Ilya Dragunov. I hope that now that we can move on from Sami Zayn, let's go back and get Carmelo Hayes. Let's get Ilya Dragunov. Let's get others who were in the U.S. title picture to go up against Trick Williams moving forward. Then we get to the ESPN Plus portion of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Danhausen against The Miz and Kit Wilson. And there was a ton of speculation on who Danhausen's partner was going to be. And it was Minihausen. Listen, I was thoroughly entertained by the match. Like, okay, cool. It was entertaining, right? But when I was watching this match, you know what it made me think of? Why doesn't WWE bring back pre-show matches? Because this, to me, again, this being on the main card, you know, okay, cool. That's a great spotlight for Danhausen. You know, that's great, right? You know, the WWE has done such a great job at recovering from his debut, which was not that great, and they found a way to make him into a very, very merchandise machine, where Danhausen has become this very popular, very over character, and people are spending a lot of their human money to buy his merchandise. You know, they're chanting, "You are cursed," when Danhausen does it. Like, they've recovered him greatly. But again, it was a fun, entertaining match. But it just reminds me that this is the kind of stuff that I think would be great on pre-shows, because the WWE, they like to think that they're Sports Center, they're like NFL Game Day, or whatever pre-show you watch, where it's like, yeah, we're gonna have all this talking for X amount of time before the PLE begins, and I'm like, It's like, dude, and it's like this match here, Danhausen and Minihausen versus The Miz and Kit Wilson would be perfect for a pre-show match. And I think then you could have put another match on the main card instead. And there's a lot of rumors going around that a lot of these releases now is TKO going, hey, you guys are working less, so you guys should be paid less. Well, if we add more matches to the cards, other than 5 matches, maybe TKO should tell Triple H, hey, maybe we should book some pre-show matches, or just add matches to the card in general. Then maybe they wouldn't have to ask the talent to take 50% pay cuts. Then we had IYO versus Asuka, and I know a lot of people were disappointed that they did not get to have this match at WrestleMania. And in hindsight, I'm happy. I'm happy that they did not, because WrestleMania was like these short 6, 7, 8 minute matches, and IYO and Asuka would not have been able to have the match that they would have been able that they had at Backlash. So I am happy that this match did take place at Backlash, and what a match! I mean, look, I talked about Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker being a show stealer. Honestly, I think IYO and Asuka stole the show from them, and that to me was my match of the night. And I love during the match, Asuka goes for the mist. IYO grabs Wade Barrett's notebook thing. I think it was his computer, and she's like uses it as a shield to block the mist. And I'm like, I guess IYO SKY owes Wade Barrett a new notebook. I guess I don't know, but or computer thing, whatever. But yeah, what a great match between these two. In hindsight, I am so happy that this match happened at Backlash and not WrestleMania. That these two were able to have the match that they did have. Now, everyone is talking about the post match because Asuka seemingly has retired. The way, like, here's the thing: when Asuka and IYO embrace at the end, you think it's just a thing of like, oh, hey, Asuka has respect for IYO. They have respect for each other. Cool, whatever. Maybe Asuka's going to turn babyface. You could turn Asuka babyface off of this match, and okay, cool. But as the segment was going on, I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute, this is going on a little bit too long. Is Asuka going to attack IYO, and then surprise, Kairi saves IYO from the beatdown from Asuka? Yeah, I know. I was a little bit hopeful there when I was watching this, but yes, Asuka, the way that she hugged IYO, she waved to the crowd. It does seem as if, and reports as of today, as I'm recording this, say she is officially considered semi-retired. So I don't know. We'll get an official announcement on Monday, but they're seemingly from other wrestlers like Charlotte, Becky, Bailey. I think a lot of other wrestlers were leaving posts and pictures of Asuka that seemingly feels like this was her last match. I don't know if she's going to go back to Japan. Maybe she's going to go do some matches in Japan for a bit before she officially retires. Maybe she'll come back to WWE. But I hope that this is just Asuka being able to go out on her own, and that this wasn't like some kind of like TKO forcing Asuka out the door because she didn't want to take a 50% pay cut, and that her final night in WWE was going to be at Backlash. So I don't know. I hope that Asuka was able to go out on her own. That's what I'm hoping for. If this was her last match, but again, yeah, we could turn Asuka babyface out of this. I mean, look, you could have IYO against Liv Morgan, And again, you have Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez. I mean, you could do a 6-woman tag out of that if you want. If Asuka's not retiring, you could do IYO, Asuka, and then when Stephanie gets back from her injury, you could do a 6-woman tag where it's IYO, Asuka, Stephanie against Liv, Roxanne, and Raquel. That could be like a fun match for like Saturday night's main event coming up. So we'll see if this is Asuka's last match. If it was, she's had a great career in the WWE, going all the way back to Black and Gold NXT, where she was undefeated there. She vacated the NXT Championship, the Women's Championship, and again, that was something that we did not see until Obafemi vacated the NXT Championship. So you know that it was a pretty big deal to have Asuka vacate the NXT Women's Championship, where they didn't even have her go out on a loss. So I think Asuka has had a very good career in the WWE. I don't know a whole lot about her career in Japan, but from a WWE's perspective, she's had a great career, a Hall of Fame career. And if that was her last match, I think I would be very happy with that being her last match against IYO SKY. Then we get to John Cena's major announcement. This groundbreaking announcement, ladies and gentlemen, what was it? Well, the John Cena Classic, ladies and gentlemen. John Cena came out there and said that there's going to be a new event with a new championship where it's going to be the main roster, Raw and SmackDown talent against the stars of NXT. And they didn't say the name of the event. Well, the name of the event is the John Cena Classic. It's a tournament, so to speak. So if you remember the Mae Young Classic the WWE did, so think that the John Cena Classic, and it's a tournament with the main roster against NXT stars. I love this idea. I think the way that NXT is now integrated with the main roster nowadays. I think this is a great show to do once a year, where you have the main roster against the NXT talent. I think this is a great way to showcase your NXT talent, a great way to showcase and get people to watch NXT. So, John Cena did not say when this event would happen, or where this will take place. So, I guess we'll know more later, but I would have to imagine maybe in the fall, I would imagine, because that is kind of the WWE's downtime. I just can't see it happening like with any time soon because we do have potentially the King of the Ring tournament coming up. We have SummerSlam, so there's not really an awful lot of room right now on the calendar. I could see it maybe. We have Night of Champions in June, so it's one of those things where maybe this is something in the fall. So think like we had when John Cena's last match, where it was in December. But I would maybe like to see this in October, maybe. I mean, that way it's not towards really the end of the year. But yeah, what a great announcement! I think it took everyone by surprise of what he was going to announce because kudos to WWE for putting out there, in the dirt sheets. Oh yeah, it's a Club WWE announcement. That's all it is. Like even I made a video before Backlash. I was like, what could this announcement be? Like I felt like there was an underlying secret announcement, and I thought it was just maybe a secret PLE announcement for like a SummerSlam coming to Tampa or a 2-night Royal Rumble or something. So like John Cena Classic, where the fans get to vote. By the way, I didn't want to. I almost forgot about this part. The fans get to vote on the champion of this tournament, regardless of wins and losses, which I kind of don't like. I kind of don't like that part. Like, I would rather see this be something where it's a tournament where where eventually the winner wins the John Cena Classic Championship, not it being fan voted. Now, if you want to do a fan vote, maybe you could have fans vote on like the last remaining participants or like the mystery opponent or whatever, right? I think that could work, but I think having fans vote on a champion regardless of wins and losses, I'm not a fan of that. I hope the WWE pivots away from that before the John Cena Classic begins. And last but not least, it is your main event. Jacob Fatu challenges against Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. And, it was a good match. I liked it. I liked the way they sold Jacob Fatu being this dangerous, like, unhinged athlete that can just go off at any point and put the Tonga death grip. Like, I like everything they're doing with Jacob. Now, obviously, I did not expect him to beat Roman Reigns, but I will say having Roman Reigns escape from like 3 Tonga death grips or however many it was, that's a little bit much because if you're trying to put over this new move, you probably shouldn't have someone get out of that move more than once. You know what I mean? But yeah, Roman Reigns, again, I will say this: there was no interference, no Usos, no Solo Sikoa, no Bloodline, and Roman Reigns used the ring post to his advantage. He removed the turnbuckle pad, slammed it onto slammed Jacob's Fatu head onto the exposed turnbuckle in front of the referee. Like, he's not winning with like help from like the Usos. He's just cheating right in front of the referee. I guess we can do that. I guess when you're Roman Reigns, you can do that. But anyway, Roman Reigns with the win, and Jacob Fatu went insane after the match. Security, personnel, Adam Pearce all came out to try to restrain Jacob Fatu again. Where was the Usos? Because in a way, I like that the Usos weren't involved in the match, but in the post-match beatdown, I felt like this is where you could have had the Usos show up, especially when you had the Usos on SmackDown and they're talking to Solo Sikoa and they're kind of intertwining the Bloodline stuff with Solo and Jacob and the Usos and Roman, and it's like we didn't see the Usos even in the post-show beatdown either. So I was kind of taken off by surprise. But the post-match interview with Kathy Kelly, Roman Reigns said, "Hey, Jacob, this was your last night here. You're too dangerous. I want to make sure this is your last night." And I'm like, God damn, Roman Reigns is going to get his own cousin fired? Jeesh. But yeah, I mean, Roman Reigns walks away, your World Heavyweight Champion. As of now, Roman Reigns is still advertised for Monday Night Raw. He is advertised for the rest of May. So we'll see if we get another rematch with Jacob Fatu, maybe at Clash in Italy. We'll see. Will we see Solo and the MFTs get involved? Because, Roman Reigns did bring up the fact that, hey, we've seen Jay bring this up too, where, hey, there's a reason they didn't want to bring Jacob Fatu to the WWE, and it was Solo who brought Jacob to the WWE. So I'm kind of wondering for like Saturday night's main event, could we see Roman defend the title against Solo Sikoa because he blamed Solo for bringing Jacob for bringing Jacob to the WWE, and then that could be your in between before the second match between Jacob and Roman at Clash in Italy. But let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of Backlash Tampa? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I've been your host, Money Mike, and you've been watching Ringside Cinema.